Francis Tiafoe. Francis Tiafoe Jr. Tiafoe, born January 20, 1998, is an American professional tennis player. He reached his career high at world number 10 in singles on the 19th of June 2023, becoming the first Sierra Leonean American man to be ranked in the top 10 by the ATP. Tiafoe won his first of 3 ATP titles at the 2018 Delray Beach Open, becoming the youngest American man to win a tournament on the ATP Tour since Sandy Roddick in 2002. He won his second title on clay at the 2023 U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships in Houston and his third on grass in 2023 Stuttgart. He also has a career-high ranking of number 160 in doubles on November 1, 2021. The son of Sierra Leonean immigrants, Tiafoe was raised at the Junior Tennis Champions Center, JTCC, a USTA regional training center in College Park, Maryland, where his father worked as the head of maintenance. His unique background and success as a teenager led him to be widely regarded as a great prospect to become one of the next American tennis stars. At 15, Tiafoe won the 2013 Orange Bowl, the tournament's youngest ever boys singles champion. At 17, he became the youngest American in the main draw of the French Open since Michael Chang in 1989. As a teenager, he won the U.S. Junior National Championship and enjoyed success on the ATP Challenger Tour, reaching 9 finals and winning 4 titles. Tiafoe broke into the top 100 of the ATP rankings in 2016. At the 2019 Australian Open, he reached the quarterfinals, and at the 2022 US Open, he reached the semi-finals of a Grand Slam tournament for the first time. Early life and background. Tiafoe was born on January 20, 1998, along with his twin brother Franklin, in Maryland, to Constant, better known as Francis Sr., Tiafoe and Alfina Camara, immigrants from Sierra Leone. His father immigrated to the United States in 1993, while his mother joined him in 1996 to escape the civil war in their country. In 1999, his father began working as a day laborer on a construction crew that built the Junior Tennis Champions Center, JTCC, in College Park, Maryland. When the facility was completed, he was hired as the on-site custodian and given a spare office to live in at the center. The Tiafoe brothers lived with their father at the center for 5 days a week for the next 11 years. They took advantage of their living situation to start playing tennis regularly at age 4. They stayed with their mother when she was not working night shifts as a nurse. When Tiafoe and his brother were 5 years old, their father arranged for them to begin training at the JTCC, bypassing their usual fees. At age 8, Misha Kuznetsov began coaching Tiafoe at the center, taking interest in him after seeing his work ethic and interest in the sport. Kuznetsov helped sponsor Tiafoe to play at tournaments as he progressed through the juniors. He continued to coach Tiafoe for 9 years until he moved to the USTA National Training Center in Boca Raton, Florida. Tiafoe's brother Franklin stayed in Maryland, where he played high school tennis at DeMatha Catholic High School and later played college tennis at Salisbury University. Junior career. Tiafoe won enough high-level junior titles to reach world number 2 in the International Tennis Federation, ITF, junior rankings. His success at the juniors combined with his unusual upbringing helped him rise to national prominence before he turned pro. At the age of 14, Tiafoe won his first prestigious international tournament at Les Petites in France. The following year, in December 2013, Tiafoe became the youngest player to win the Orange Bowl, one of the highest tier Grade A events on the ITF junior circuit. He defeated compatriot Stefan Kozlov in the final a month before turning 16 years old. Several months later, he also won the Easter Bowl, a second-tier Grade B1 event. With these 2 big titles, Tiafoe was the top seed at the 2014 French Open Junior Tournament, where he was upset in the second round. He then lost at Wimbledon to the eventual champion Noah Rubin. Tiafoe produced his best result at a junior Grand Slam tournament at the US Open, where he reached the semi-finals before losing a tight match to Quentin Elise. That was the last ITF tournament he would play at the junior level. In August 2015, Tiafoe capped his junior career by winning the Ulster Junior National Championship at the age of 17. Tiafoe defeated Stefan Kozlov in the final in a 5-set match, taking the first 2 sets and the last. With the win, he earned a wild card into the main draw at the 2015 US Open. Junior Grand Slam results, singles. Australian Open, A, French Open, 2R, 2014, Wimbledon, 3R, 2014, US Open, SF, 2014. Professional career, 2014-15, French and US Open debuts. Tiafoe made his ATP Tour main draw debut at the age of 16.5 after being granted a wild card by his home tournament, the 2014 Washington Open. He lost to Evgeny Donskoy in his first career tour-level match. At the 2014 US Open, Tiafoe received a wild card into the qualifying draw but lost to 11th seed Tatsuma Ito. In the doubles tournament, he was awarded a wild card into the main draw with Michael Moe. The two teenagers picked up their first career win at the ATP level in the first round by defeating veterans Viktor Strelbergos and Teimour Asgabashvili, before losing in the second round. In March 2015, he claimed his first professional title by winning the ITF Futures Tournament at Bakersfield. He officially turned pro the following month. In April 2015, Tiafoe broke through onto the ATP Challenger level. After starting the month ranked below the top 800 in the world, he put together a string of solid results that pushed him into the top 300 in the world by the time the first set of ATP rankings were published in May. Even though his ranking was too low to gain direct entry into any of the 3 American clay court challenger events, Tiafoe reached the quarterfinals of Sarasota as a qualifier, then reached the semifinals of Savannah as a wildcard, and finally reached his first career challenger final at Tallahassee with a special exempt. At the last tournament, he defeated top seed Facundo Bagnis to notch his first win against a top 100 opponent. Tiafoe's performance at these events was good enough to win the 2015 Hartrue Challenge and earn the only American wildcard spot into the main draw of the 2015 French Open. In his Grand Slam debut, Tiafoe lost his first-round match to Martin Klizan. Nonetheless, he became the first 17-year-old American to play in the main draw of the men's singles tournament since Michael Chang and Pete Sampras in 1989. At the Winston-Salem Open in August, Tiafoe entered the main draw as a qualifier and won his first ATP Tour-level match, after defeating James Duckworth in a third-set tiebreaker. He then made his main draw debut at the US Open with the wild card he earned from winning the Junior National Championship. He would lose to the number 22 seed Viktor Troicki in the first round. After the US Open, Tiafoe continued his success on the Challenger Tour and reached a second final at Knoxville, losing to Dan Evans. Driven by his success at the Challenger level, Tiafoe climbed to a year-end ranking of 176, cracking the top 200 a few months before turning 18 years old. 2016, Challenger titles and top 100. In the 2016 season, Tiafoe consistently produced deep tournament runs at the Challenger level, but was unable to break through in his few opportunities at the ATP Tour level. At the Indian Wells Masters, Tiafoe was awarded a wild card into the main draw and won his first-round match against his compatriot rival, number 80 Taylor Fritz, in their first-ever ATP level match. This would turn out to be his only ATP match win of the year. He lost his next match to David Goffin in a third-set tiebreak. Tiafoe's best performance in the clay court season came at Tallahassee, where he avenged his loss to Facundo Arguello in the final the previous year by knocking him out in the first round. For the second consecutive year, he was able to reach the final, this time losing to fellow teenager Quentin Elise. Tiafoe began his return to the North American hard courts by reaching his second challenger final of the year at Winnetka before losing to top-seeded Yoshihito Nishioka. He then reached his third consecutive challenger final in the United States at Lexington. The following week at Granby, Tiafoe reached his fourth challenger final in 5 such events in North America. He defeated Marcelo Ivalo in the final to capture his first challenger title and climb to a career-high ranking of number 123 in the world. Tiafoe was awarded a wild card into the US Open, his only Grand Slam main draw of the year. He faced off against American veteran John Isner in the first round and won the first 2 sets, but eventually lost the match in a 5th-set tiebreak. In October, Tiafoe cracked the top 100 for the first time by winning the maiden event at Stockton, defeating fellow American Noah Rubin in the final. He finished the year ranked 108, making him the highest-ranked player at his age for the second year in a row. 2017, Doubles Final. At the Australian Open, Tiafoe began the year by reaching the main draw of a Grand Slam through qualifying for the first time and then recording his first career major match win over Mikhail Kukushkin. To close out the winter hard-court season, he also qualified for the Miami Masters and won his first round match before falling to Roger Federer. Tiafoe followed up a good start to the year on the hard courts with a very impressive clay court season that helped his ranking climb to number 65 in the world. He began with the U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships in Houston, where he reached his first career ATP final in the doubles event, after partnering with veteran Dustin Brown as a wildcard entry. He then continued his success on clay by winning back-to-back challenger titles over the next 3 weeks at the Sarasota Open on green clay and the Open du Pays d'Aix on red clay, the former of which included a victory over former top 10 player Jürgen Melzer in the semi-finals. In his Wimbledon debut, Tiafoe defeated Robin Haase in 4 sets for his first win over an opponent ranked in the top 50. He followed this up with his first top 10 win over world number 7, Alexander Zverev, at the Cincinnati Masters in August. Tiafoe gained more prominence after taking Roger Federer to 5 sets in his first round match on Arthur Ashe Stadium at the US Open. In September, captain John McEnroe chose Tiafoe to replace Juan Martín del Potro for Team World in the inaugural Lava Cup, which mostly featured players in the top 25 of the ATP rankings. He lost his only match to Marin Cilic. Tiafoe achieved a year-end ranking inside the top 100 for the first time, but only managed to be named the first alternate for the inaugural Next Generation ATP Finals. 2018, first ATP title and top 50. Tiafoe entered the year having struggled on the ATP Tour, with just 9 wins in 38 matches. Nonetheless, he would quadruple that number of wins by the end of the season. At the inaugural New York Open, Tiafoe reached his first career quarterfinal at an ATP Tour level event before losing to top seed Kevin Anderson. The following week, Tiafoe entered the Delray Beach Open as a wild card and won his first ATP title after beating Peter Gojowczyk in the final. He became the first wild card entry to win the tournament. Along the way, he defeated his idol and world number 10, Juan Martín del Potro, as well as fellow next-gen players Hyun Chung and Denis Shapovalov. With the victory, he became the youngest American to win an ATP title since Andy Roddick won the US Clay Court Championships in 2002. Tiafoe's win streak was snapped in the first round of the Indian Wells Masters by his compatriot Ernesto Escobedo. However, he bounced back at the Miami Masters to reach the 4th round, a career best at a Masters event. He upset Tomas Berdych in the 3rd round before losing to Kevin Anderson for the second time this year. Tiafoe continued his success at the ATP level into the clay court season. He played at the Portugal Open for the first time and made it to his second ATP final of the year, despite needing to save 3 match points in the first round. He upset the defending champion, number 11 Pablo Carreño Busta, in the semi-finals before losing to hometown favorite João Sousa in the final. Nonetheless, he became the youngest American to reach a clay court final in Europe since André Agassi played in the French Open final in 1990. Tiafoe followed up on this success at Wimbledon by picking up his first win over a seeded opponent at a major against number 30, Fernando Verdosco, en route to reaching the 3rd round of a major for the first time. With this performance, he also broke into the top 50 of the ATP rankings after the tournament. During the US Open Series, Tiafoe had his best result at the Canadian Open. He defeated two top 30 players, including hometown favorite Milos Raonic, before losing to number 5 Grigor Dimitrov in a third-set tiebreak. At the US Open, Tiafoe won his first career match at the event against number 29, Adrian Mannarino, before losing to fellow next-gen player Alex de Minaur in the second round. Following the last major event of the year, Tiafoe made his Davis Cup debut for the United States in the semi-final against Croatia. After easily losing to Marin Cilic in straight sets, Tiafoe played in the fifth and decisive rubber against Borna Coric. Despite taking a 2-1 lead, he ultimately lost the match as the United States lost the tie. For the second straight year, Tiafoe replaced Juan Martín del Potro in the Lava Cup. He again lost his only match, this time to Dimitrov. At the end of the season, Tiafoe qualified for the next-gen ATP Finals, having just barely failed to qualify the previous year. He defeated Hubert Hurkacz in his round-robin group, but lost to Jaume Munar and the eventual champion, Stefanos Tsitsipas, as he did not advance out of the group. Tiafoe finished the year ranked number 39 in the world. 2019, top 30 debut. Tiafoe's biggest result of the year came at the Australian Open, where he made it to the quarter-finals of a major for the first time. During the tournament, he upset number 5 Kevin Anderson in the second round as well as number 20, Grigor Dimitrov, in the fourth round before losing to number 2, Rafael Nadal. As a result of this run, he reached a career-high ranking of world number 29, on February 11, 2019. Tiafoe could not build on this success during the rest of the season. He did not win multiple matches at a tournament again until he reached the quarter-finals at the Miami Open, losing to Denis Shapovalov. He could not defend the points from his title at the 2019 Delray Beach Open or his runner-up at the 2019 Estoril Open a year earlier, losing in the first round at the former and in the quarter-finals at the latter. Tiafoe closed out the clay court season with a first-round loss at the French Open to Filip Krajinovic, in which he struggled with an illness. He faced more difficult draws at Wimbledon and the US Open, losing to number 10 Fabio Fognini in the opening round of the former and number 7 Alexander Zverev in the second round of the latter, despite pushing both opening to 5 sets. At the end of the season, Tiafoe qualified for the next generation ATP Finals. He was placed in a round-robin group with Udo Humbert, Mikael Ymer, and Jannik Sinner. After an opening match loss to Sinner, Tiafoe defeated Humbert and Ymer to advance to knockout rounds. There, he was defeated by top seed Alex de Minaur. Tiafoe finished the season ranked number 47 in the world. 2020, US Open fourth round. Tiafoe dropped out of the top 50 in February, after losing his quarter-final points from the 2019 Australian Open when he was defeated in the first round of the 2020 Australian Open by Daniil Medvedev. At the US Open, Tiafoe advanced to the third round of the tournament for the first time by defeating Andreas Seppi of Italy, then John Millman of Australia. In the third round, he knocked out Marton Fucsovics of Hungary in straight sets and moved on to the round of 16, becoming at 22 the youngest American man to advance that far in the US Open since Donald Young in 2011. He lost in straight sets in the round of 16 to the tournament's third seed, Daniil Medvedev of Russia. Tiafoe finished the season ranked number 59 in the world. 2021, first top 5 win, ATP 500 final. Tiafoe started the year at the Delray Beach Open, where he was beaten by Cameron Norrie in the quarter-finals. He then lost in the second round of the Australian Open and in the first or second rounds of several ATP 250 tournaments. At the Miami Open, he beat top 30 player Dan Evans in a comeback, but lost in the round of 16 to number 1 seed Daniil Medvedev. He did not have good results during the European clay swing as he could not qualify for the main draw of the Madrid Masters or the Rome Masters, and he lost in the first round of the French Open to Steve Johnson, despite being up 2 sets to love. Tiafoe started his grass court season by defeating Dennis Kudla to win the Nottingham Open. Tiafoe reached the quarter-finals at the Queen's Club Championships, where he lost to Denis Shapovalov. Later that grass court season, Tiafoe had one of his greatest career wins in the first round of Wimbledon, beating world number 4 and 2021 French Open finalist, Stefanos Tsitsipas, in straight sets to gain his first win against a top 5 player. Tiafoe became just the second American man since 2010 to defeat a top 3 seed at a major, joining Sam Querrey, who did it at Wimbledon in both 2016 and 2017. He then defeated Vasek Pospisil in the second round in straight sets to reach the third round at Wimbledon for the second time in his career, where he lost to Karen Khachanov. At the 2020 Olympics, Tiafoe lost in the second round to Tsitsipas, who took his revenge for the Wimbledon loss. At the Canadian Open, Tiafoe lost in the second round of qualifying to Emil Ruusuvuori, but was awarded a lucky loser spot in the main draw after fellow American Sebastian Korda withdrew. He defeated qualifier Yoshihito Nishioka in the first round, and then earned his second top 10 victory of the year by upsetting 10th-ranked home favorite Denis Shapovalov in the second round. He lost in the third round to Gael Monfils. The following week at the Western and Southern Open, Tiafoe defeated Ugo Humbert, but lost in the second round to Diego Schwartzman. At the US Open, he reached the fourth round for a second consecutive year by defeating 5th seed and world number 7, Andrei Rublev in a 5-set match. Tiafoe was the first American man to reach the second week at the US Open in consecutive years since Andy Roddick and Mardy Fish in 2011-12. He was then defeated by Felix Auger alias Sim. Tiafoe had to enter the main draw via qualifying in Vienna, beating Alex Molcan and Lucas Meidler, both in 3 sets. In the main draw, Tiafoe beat Dusan Lajovic in the first round before winning his second match of the year against Tsitsipas, after recovering from a breakdown in the third set. Tiafoe then beat Diego Schwartzman to reach his first ATP 500 semi-final, where he beat Jannik Sinner after trailing in the second set to reach his first ATP 500 final. He would lose to Alexander Zverev in straight sets in the final. 2022, US Open semi-final, top 20, American number 2. Tiafoe saw success in the European clay swing of the season. At the Portugal Open, he defeated Monte Carlo finalist Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in the quarterfinals and Sebastian Korda in the semi-finals. He lost to Sebastian Baez in the final, but reached the top 25 in rankings on May 2, 2022. In his next event, the Madrid Open, Tiafoe lost to Christian Garin in the first round. Tiafoe, who had played in the French Open 6 times previously, recorded his first victory at Roland Garros in 2022 with a first-round win over Benjamin Bonzi. In the second round, he lost to David Goffin in 4 sets. At the Wimbledon Championships, he reached the round of 16 for the first time at this major. He lost again to Goffin this time, in a tight 5-set match that lasted 4 hours and 36 minutes. At the Atlanta Open, Tiafoe reached the semi-finals where he lost to Jenson Brooksby in straight sets. In his next event, at his home tournament of Washington, Tiafoe reached the quarterfinals, but let 5 match points slip away and lost to Nick Kyrgios in 3 sets. At the same tournament, he also reached the semi-finals in doubles with Alex de Minaur. The next week, at the Canadian Open, Tiafoe reached the second round with a win over Benjamin Bonzi before losing to number 10 seed Taylor Fritz. His win against Bonzi lifted him to a then career-high ranking of number 24, which also made him the number 2 American player. At the Cincinnati Masters, Tiafoe reached the second round with a win over number 12 seed Matteo Berrettini. Tiafoe reached the fourth round of the US Open after defeating 14th seed Diego Schwartzman in the third round. In the fourth round, he recorded the biggest win of his career over number 2 seed Rafael Nadal to reach the quarterfinals. With his win over the 22-time Grand Slam champion, he became the first American to defeat Nadal at a major since wildcard James Blake at the 2005 US Open. At age 24, he also became the youngest American man to reach the US Open quarterfinals since Andy Roddick in 2006. He was only the third American to defeat Nadal in a Grand Slam after Roddick, 2004, and Blake, 2005. Next, he defeated number 9 seed Andrei Rublev to reach his first major semi-final in his career, becoming the first American man to reach the semi-finals in Flushing Meadows since 2006 when Andy Roddick reached the championship match, and the first black American man since Arthur Ashe in 1972. In the semi-finals, Tiafoe lost to Carlos Alcaraz in a 5-set hard-fought match lasting more than 4 hours. He saved a match point against him in the 4th set, after coming back from 2 sets to 1 down, but lost in the decider. Tiafoe then participated in the Lava Cup, defeating Stefanos Tsitsipas to seal the victory for Team World 2023, United Cup champion, Masters semi-final, titles on clay and grass, top 10 debut. Tiafoe started the season at the inaugural United Cup, as the number 2 American male player, where the United States team became champion by defeating Italy in the final. He reached the top 15 following the Australian Open where he reached the 3rd round. At Indian Wells, Tiafoe reached his first Masters 1000 semi-final, defeating Marcos Giron, Jason Kubler, qualifier Alejandro Tabilo, and 2021 Indian Wells champion Cameron Norrie, the biggest win of his season by ranking, all without dropping a set, before losing to 5th seed Daniil Medvedev. At the Miami Open, he was defeated by Lorenzo Sonego in the 3rd round. Tiafoe reached his 6th final and won his first title outside hard courts at the U.S. Men's Clay Court Championships. Due to multiple rain delays, he played and won 4 matches all in straight sets over the course of 2 days, defeating Guy Sprower in less than an hour in the semi-final and Thomas Martin Etcheverry in the final. This tournament victory moved him to world number 11 on the 10th of April 2023. In May, Tiafoe competed at the French Open as the number 12 seed and reached the 3rd round of this major for the first time, losing to number 22 and eventual semi-finalist Alexander Zverev in 4 sets. During the grass court season, Tiafoe reached his 7th final and first on grass at the Stuttgart Open, defeating Jiří Lehecka, 6th seed Lorenzo Musetti, and Martin Fucsovics along the way. In the final, he defeated Jan-Lennard Struff after saving a championship point in the final set tiebreak. Tiafoe reached the world's top 10 for the first time in his career on the 19th of June 2023. With his titles on clay and on grass during the season, he completed the set of titles on 3 different surfaces. Seeded 10th at Wimbledon, his highest career Grand Slam seeding, he reached the 3rd round, losing to 21st seed Grigor Dimitrov in straight sets. At the US Open, Tiafoe lost in the quarterfinals to compatriot Ben Shelton in 4 sets. 2024, consecutive US Open quarterfinals, Masters final, 200th win, back to top 20. Tiafoe reached the semi-finals at his home tournament, the Delray Beach Open, losing to 3rd seed and compatriot Tommy Paul, the eventual runner-up. At the Miami Open he lost in the 2nd round to Australian Christopher O'Connell, having received a bye at the tournament. At the US Men's Clay Court Championships, where he was the defending champion, Tiafoe defeated James Duckworth, Jordan Thompson, and Luciano Darderi en route to his 8th career final and 4th on clay. He lost to top seed Ben Shelton in the first All-African-American men's singles tennis final in the Open era. During the American Summer Swing, he reached the semi-finals for the first time in Washington, upsetting top seed Andrei Rublev, his first top 10 win of the season, and first since 2022, before losing to eventual champion and 4th seed Sebastian Korda. Next he also reached the semi-finals in Cincinnati for only the 2nd time in his career at a Masters level, with wins over Alejandro Davidovich Fokina, 14th seed Lorenzo Musetti, Jiří Lehecka, winning on the 6th match point, and finally 5th seed Hubert Hurkacz by retirement, his 200th career win. He was the first American male player in the Cincinnati semi-finals since John Isner in 2017. He reached his first Masters and biggest final of his career with a 3-set stunning defeat of 15th seed Holger Rune, coming from 2-5 in the 3rd set and saving 2 match points. At the US Open he reached a 3rd consecutive quarter-final with wins over Alexander Kovacevic, Alexander Shevchenko, 13th seed Ben Shelton in 5 sets, and 28th Alexei Popyrin in 4 sets, joining American players Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi and Andy Roddick in achieving the milestone. World Team Tennis. Tiafoe has played 3 seasons of World Team Tennis, all with his hometown team the Washington Castles, making his debut in 2017. He was to return to the Castles during the 2020 WTT season, but did not play after testing positive for COVID-19. Playing style. Like many of his top-ranked American contemporaries such as Jack Sock and Sam Querrey, Tiafoe plays an aggressive offensive game that relies on a big serve and powerful forehand. At 6 feet 2 inches tall, Tiafoe can launch serves at over 140 miles per hour, and regularly hits first serves between 120 and 140 miles per hour. After facing him at the 2016 US Open, John Isner said that Tiafoe could return his serve, widely regarded as one of the best in the game, as well as any player on tour outside of Novak Djokovic. He also said that Tiafoe's second serve could use improvement. Tiafoe's most unusual shot is his forehand, which carries heavy topspin and is driven by an unusual arm motion. When Tiafoe won the 2018 Delray Beach Open, he credited an improved serve for his better play in the tournament. Coaches. From age 8 to 17, Tiafoe was coached at the Junior Tennis Champions Center in Maryland by Misha Kuznetsov, who had played college tennis at UMBC and coached tennis at Robert Morris. Kuznetsov left his job at the JTCC to work with Tiafoe full-time. After Tiafoe moved to Florida to train with the Euster, he was coached by Jose Higueras from Spain, who had led fellow Americans Michael Chang and Jim Corea to Grand Slam titles. Tiafoe also worked with Nicolas Todero while at Euster. Robbie Ginepri, a former US Open semi-finalist, began coaching Tiafoe in the fall of 2016. Tiafoe's friend Zach Evenden started to help coach him shortly before he won his first ATP title in 2018. Evenden took over as Tiafoe's primary coach before the start of the 2019 season. In the 2020 season, Tiafoe hired former top 10 player Wayne Ferreira as an additional coach. In July 2021, Tiafoe and Evenden parted ways by mutual agreement, and Ferreira became his primary coach. In December 2023, Tiafoe parted with Ferreira and reunited with former Euster coach Diego Moyano. Equipment and apparel. Tiafoe has been sponsored by Nike since May 2016. He was previously sponsored by Adidas. Tiafoe endorses the Yonex Percept 97 tennis racket equipped with Polytour Pro 125 strings. He chose this racket because it helps him play more aggressively. Personal life. Tiafoe is nicknamed Big Foe or simply Foe. He made known his relationship with tennis player Ian Broomfield in 2018. Tiafoe's tennis idol growing up was Juan Martín del Potro, in part because the Argentine was the first pro to sign a tennis ball for him. The two first faced each other at Acapulco in 2017, with Del Potro winning the match in a third-set tiebreak. Tiafoe picked up his first win over his idol at the 2018 Delray Beach Open en route to his first career ATP title. Tiafoe likes to watch and play basketball, and is a big fan of fellow Washington, D.C. area native Kevin Durant. He is also a fan of Washington area sports teams, including the Washington Spirit in the National Women's Soccer League, Washington Mystics in the Women's National Basketball Association, Washington Wizards in the National Basketball Association, Washington Commanders in the National Football League, and the Washington Capitals in the National Hockey League. Due to Tiafoe's connections to the Junior Tennis Champions Center, JTCC, in College Park, Maryland, and his childhood in Hyattsville, Maryland, many fans of the University of Maryland Terrapins are also fans of Tiafoe. Tiafoe is regularly covered by University of Maryland media and fan sites. After Tiafoe defeated Rafael Nadal and reached the semi-finals of the US Open in 2022, he attended a Maryland Terrapins football game where he was honored for his accomplishments. Tiafoe also attends Maryland Terrapins basketball games. Tiafoe has a long-term relationship with University of Maryland football coach Mike Loxley, whom he met as a teenager, and has appeared on Loxley's podcast. Tiafoe has embraced his position both as one of the few players of color on the ATP Tour and as a potential role model to youngsters in general, saying, "That's one of my biggest motivations, to get more black people playing tennis. But I'm just trying to inspire everyone, doesn't matter what race. Especially younger people." Tiafoe played in the 2023 NBA Celebrity All-Star Game. Tiafoe endorsed Prince George's County Executive Angela Also Brooks for the Democratic nomination for the 2024 United States Senate election in Maryland with an Instagram story on the day of the primary. Performance timelines: singles, doubles, significant finals, Masters 1000 finals, singles 1 runner-up, ATP Tour finals, singles 9, 3 titles, 6 runner-ups, doubles 1 runner-up, national and international representation, team competitions finals 6, 3 titles, 2 runner-ups, 1 pending, ATP Challenger and ITF Futures finals, singles 14, 7 titles, 7 runner-ups, doubles 1 runner-up, wins over top 10 players. He has a 11-35 win-loss record against players who were, at the time the match was played, ranked in the top 10.